All right, hello, fellow Pocket RPG backers. If you've never played a role-playing game before, we've made it super easy for you. Below me here is our Pocket RPG. There's the scale of it. And I am going to walk you through how you would start playing D&D if you've never played D&D. I'm going to be reading directly from our introductory adventure for D&D, but let's start with what you need. So the first thing that you need is your Pocket RPG. This is going to be filled with maps. This is going to have miniatures, both monsters for the encounters. These will have player characters for the players to choose from. Boss minis and other monsters, and it's also going to come with, in the core set, a bunch of walls to quickly build encounters on the fly. So in order to just jump into a game of Dungeons and Dragons, which is what our introduction is built off of, all you need is, again, the Pocket RPG and our introductory PDF that comes with the core adventure. You also need some dice. You can roll dice on your phone. You can check out our Dice-O-Matic or Flip Die, but you need dice, Pocket RPG. You need character sheets, which our introduction will have some pre-generated character sheets, or it will walk you through how to create a character. Then we have a quick introduction as a dungeon master. You decide which player at the table is going to be the dungeon master, and you start with our introductory paragraph. This is a one-shot, meaning this is an adventure that you can play in one sitting. You don't need to have prior knowledge before you sit down, and you don't need to retain anything to play later on. It's a great way to introduce Dungeons and Dragons to people who have never played before. So the first thing you're going to want to do is read, so you want to be a game master. As game master, you assume a special role in this adventure. Ultimately, you hold the title of 3 particular positions: referee, narrator, and beastmaster. As referee, the GM exercises their best judgment on how to apply rules in order to assure that gameplay runs smoothly. All the rules that the GM will need are here in the introductory document. As narrator, the GM fills in the narrative blanks for players to interact and overcome, and drives the pace of the story. I will show you how that is also worked into this introductory document. And as Beastmaster, you control all the enemies, NPCs, monsters, and characters that are not controlled by your player characters. So let's jump in. All great adventures start with an adventure hook. So this is what is going to attract your players to the story and get them excited to play Dungeons and Dragons for the first time. As a GM, if I was GMing, I would not set up my Pocket RPG yet, but I have it handy. I have my dice handy. Players have their characters. They've been introduced to them. They haven't introduced themselves yet. So part 1, I'm reading from the document, and you want to put on your best GM voice. Where salvation once was and now tainted and hidden from the worldly plane as you all know it, now claimed by the elements and archived in myth and history, you stand before the opening of not just a cave, with a warm light floating in some indeterminable distance. So as I'm reading this, I'm going to set up the adventure. While fractured and crumbling, elaborate looping characters written in an archaic tongue can be seen just where the sun would meet the opening. I would point this out to my party here. As you approach, the light from the cave dances more and more frantically as the party follows it into the darkness, dampened and craggy, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So now I'm just reading again from here. This is totally going to walk you through how to play for the first time. Before the adventurers begin to shimmy through the path before them, be sure to do the following. Encourage players to introduce their characters if they haven't done so already. That's going to look like them grabbing their character sheet, whether on their phone or printed out, and saying, okay, my name is Dingle Broomis. I'm a bard. I am wearing, a brown cloak over my head, and I have blue skin. And we will place them on the map. Then the paladin will introduce themselves. My name is Uthor Lightbringer, rip that off from World of Warcraft. I am actually taking the lead in this cave as I am, a protector of my people. Maybe the last person is a Warlock Mage. So as the GM, I'm going to say, you guys need to place yourselves somewhere in here. This document is literally explaining what I should do as a Dungeon Master. Show me the order and show me where you would be on the map in this opening. Now, let's say we want to force the characters to go a certain direction. You're kind of a new GM. You want to have a little bit more of control of the story. I'm just going to drop some walls in to block some of the paths off. So then you will read from the player introduction, which says, as you approach the following tunnel and cave, you need to roll your dice. You will ask them to roll their dice. Now in D&D, it's based off of a D20 system. You don't have to tell them what they are rolling for. You can say this is a basic perception check. The rules will dive into different checks that they need to make. As the GM, you know that they are checking if they see the sleeping wolves. What the players need to do is roll higher than what the document tells you is the perception check to see the sleeping wolves. This is a low perception check. It is a 7. So let's simulate the player characters rolling. 18. So as the GM, you have 2 options to read from the document. 1, if they do not see it, they progress forward. They get surprised by the wolves. In this case, they did see it. You say, ahead of you, you see 2 sleeping wolves. They have not noticed your presence yet. What would you like to do? Now, the adventure begins. We add the sleeping wolves to the map. They have not awoken yet. You give the players an option to do something from their character sheet or try to seduce the wolves or convince them to be their friends. And you as the GM get to decide if the wolves attack, if the wolves can speak English, if the wolves are, going to run in the opposite direction and alert the skeletons. Maybe they were guard wolves. That's the joy of D&D. And we would play. If you want to find out what happens to our adventurers, check out the PDF document as we share little pieces of it. Back Pocket RPG, so you have an adventure that takes you through all 10 maps in the core set, utilizes all the miniatures that come with the adventure, and should give you a very good idea of why this is the most beloved game of all time. Thanks for checking this out. And thanks for backing Pocket RPG.